yesterday was the premiere of the 30 for 30 Be Water, the Bruce Lee story or background. And I'll give you my quick reaction was, I love Bruce Lee. I'm a Bruce Lee guy, but
Who doesn't love Bruce Lee, first of all? I mean, come on.
crazy
The man, the myth, the
people.
legend.
I don't know if you knew of Bruce Lee like we do and you know his story, this was just a tidy little package putting all those factoids together. But did it give you anything new? No. But maybe that's not the intention of these 30 for 30s. Maybe we're expecting too much.
I think I was definitely expecting too much based on the Last Dance one and the Lance ones. But I was interested to know about his early life, like his upbringing, his dad being in the operas. I didn't know that. That was new information. I had forgot that he was here in the States. I mean, and then left and went back to Hong Kong. I completely forgot about that. And then I had also forgot that he was not alive when Enter the Dragon premiered. For some reason, I thought he died shortly after that.
Yeah.
And then there's still controversy around his death, which is alarming.
Yeah. I mean, the Bruce Lee estate is on lock. You don't get information. You don't get to use any of their imagery without them being in pretty tight control. This was a Bruce Lee. It was an intro to Bruce Lee. Like, if you didn't know Bruce Lee, here he is, which is good. It's good for his brand. It's good for, for younger generations who don't know anything about it. And it's like, father to son or daughter going, hey, you want to know why I idolize this guy? Let's watch this together. Right. So I can see that. I mean, I've been a fan of Bruce Lee since I was a child. I mean, I think it was the one thing that I really, really, really enjoyed watching was they talked about him and his, I don't know if you call it a struggle, but the challenge he had with being born in the U.S. and being of Chinese descent. And there was one quote that I always actually use. It's like, you're not Chinese enough for the Chinese, and you're not American enough for the Americans and the people that are there. And they went through the whole history of how Asian people were portrayed, Mickey Rooney and all of those others that portrayed Asian people in very beastly ways, very inexcusable ways. And I found a personal connection that way. Being biracial descent myself, I was never brown enough for the brown people and never white enough for the white people. I always kind of just was in between. I was in that purgatory, right? So I always idolized someone like Bruce Lee because he struggled with that too. And it was nice to hear that story.
They called him a mid-Pacificer?
Yeah, which I thought was an interesting term. I've never heard a mid-Pacificer before.
What the hell is that?
But like I said, I thought that was very interesting. I like that they highlighted that, especially now, with everything going on and the political and social turmoil that we have in the current day. It's an important story to tell, to show that a lot of people, we've been going through this for a long, long time. And for both of us who work in Hollywood, there was something that one of the film critics said during the show was, Hollywood is racist because America's racist. And we still struggle with that right now.
Yeah.
John Boyega said, I'm going to stand up. I don't care if it hurts my career. The fact that he had to say that out loud is disturbing to me. Michael B. Jordan, same thing. Like, wait, are we actually have to say this out loud? That if I speak up, it might hurt my career? And, after John Boyega said that, hey, look, to a lesser extent, I'm not trying to say what my thinking is anywhere near the elevated struggle that he feels he's going through. But I was hesitant to share anything on LinkedIn, for example, because a bunch of people on my LinkedIn are executives from the Walt Disney Company. And I know they're going to see my post. And I'm like, you know what? No. I'm going to share something that I feel about white privilege, right? And that I feel that white privilege is getting to learn about racism and not actually experiencing it. And so be thankful you have some privilege, because I had to experience racism. And I'm like, why would I be so scared to share something like that on LinkedIn? You know, I've always gone through do I share something on social media for the fear that it could hurt even my own personal career, especially being in Hollywood, being in marketing in Hollywood, you know, where it's always about appearances and how you conduct yourself. I've been nervous. And now I'm like, fuck it. If someone's gonna look at me poorly that way, then I don't want to work for them or with them.
Yeah, I mean, that sucks that you felt that way. I don't really share anything, so I can't really relate just because I don't really post, as you know.
You don't post anything
I don't
anyway.
post shit. Sorry.
Yeah. But you're in a different world. I'm in
Yeah.
marketing, where you have to kind of put yourself out there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You live in marketing. I live in the we don't share shit world. Ever. Legal. Yeah. I was also interested, and I didn't know about the Kung Fu thing with the TV show. I had no idea that that was going to be him before it was David before they said no because, you know, Hollywood and didn't want an Asian leading man, gave it to David Carradine.
Did you think it was interesting that they left in when Kareem said, what was the name of that guy? And then was it the wife that goes, I don't remember the guy's name. It was two people. It was Kareem and somebody else. And I'm like, wait a minute, come on. That was weird that they left that in the edit.
Yeah.
Because people knew David Carradine. Come on.
Yeah.
Like he's not a forgettable guy. I thought that was a bit they downplayed the fact that people.
Yeah, no, completely. It changed my instant view of that show. As soon as it happened, I was like, I don't know that I could ever watch that show again. And when I had watched it originally, I really enjoyed it. But now
Who
I
didn't
don't.
love that show?
Yeah, right. But now knowing that, just that one fact, I don't think I could watch it and all enjoy it. I'd like, this was supposed to be Bruce Lee. What the crap?
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks what he went through, that an American had to go to Hong Kong and make it, you know, and in order then to finally be accepted. And then once he is accepted and Warner Brothers wants to co-produce something, he dies before it premieres.
Well, that's very sad, but except for the death part of that, we'll take that out.
Yeah.
How many times has that happened in life? Actors' lives or actresses, whatever, or writers, directors, producers, music people, anywhere throughout the entire industry, where no, we don't want to work with you. And then you go somewhere else, be it Hong Kong, China, India, Spain, wherever, Europe, wherever on earth, become a star in that market. And all of a sudden they're like, oh, no, wait, come back.
It's the Kurt Warner model, right? He goes up to play, play arena ball, he
CFL,
kills it.
Yeah.
And then the CFL or, and then all of a sudden the NFL wants him, right? Doug Flutie kind of
he's
stuff.
On the greatest show on turf.
Look, I mean, it's sad that it has to happen, but you're right. Happens in a lot of places, right? Like even happens in our own professions, right? Sometimes you feel like, hey, I got to leave this company. I don't want to leave it, but I got to go work here, build up my expertise, and then I'll come back and I'll come back at a higher level. Happens every day.
Every day.
But it's sad that he had to do it, and how many more films we could have had if they just got into the Bruce Lee story faster.
Yeah.
You know?
I was also fascinated by him, and then leaving in him saying like he was like being in jail when he became famous in Hong Kong because he couldn't go anywhere. He just got mobbed, and I'm like, God, how telling that is even of today. Like, you know, celebrities or sports figures, political figures, whatever, somebody famous goes out and they just get mobbed.
Yeah.
Like, oh God.
Yeah, it's crazy. Look, again, if I think if you're a Bruce Lee fan, I think I mean, spending an hour and 29 minutes without commercials, watching that through, I think is worthwhile.
Absolutely.
I won't go back and watch it again. I got my fill, and um, I think that there's more to be had from this story. I don't know if there's ever going to be anything that's unauthorized that comes out, because I don't think anyone was ever close enough to him to be able um, to get any information. I did think it was interesting that one of the guys, one of his former students, was like, he left us to go do films,
Yeah.
and he kind of changed. He kind of did his own thing, and like he almost felt like, it sounded like he felt abandoned
Yeah, I got that too.
by his master.
Yep.
And that sucks too, right? Like, you invest your time and effort into a martial art, and then he decides, I'm not going to teach anymore, I'm going to go do this. And
Yeah.
yeah.
I wasn't a fan of that. I was like, that's not cool, because I thought he was teaching that whole time as well. So that was news. I also
Yeah.
thought there wasn't enough footage and talk about all the exhibitions he had put on. I thought they missed an opportunity there. Talk about how he connected with people, what he was demonstrating, what he was trying to show them. And then they didn't go enough into, for me anyway, into his philosophies. I mean, we all know what it is because you can read
That's
it.
what I
But
thought they were going to do.
yeah, and they just kind of skimmed it. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that was weird based on the preview for this thing.
It felt like they were just going, here's the timeline, let's just tell the story of
Yeah.
the timeline. And again, it all goes back to how much does his estate want to share,
Yeah.
and do they have plans on doing other stuff? Like, maybe they feel like, okay, this is a good introduction to Bruce, now we can kind of capitalize on it by leveraging all of his philosophies. I don't
Maybe.
know.
You could
I
do
don't know.
part two of the Brandon Lee story.
Yawn.
That what? Tragic at the end,
It is
honestly.
tragic, but
But I'd be
on a
interested in that
Dateline
because it'd be
NBC.
his Brandon Lee's perspective, assuming it's written, or his sister's perspective on growing up. Like, I want that. Like, how did it feel to grow up with him for as long as you had him?
You got a little bit of that. I mean, she says
Yeah,
that I
you got a little
remember
bit.
bits and pieces. I think the
Yeah, but
problem is they were too young to remember.
maybe. But then, how is it to deal with it after his death, where he just became a megastar? Be
I
interested to
think
know.
they
I
didn't
don't
get a
think you need
big
a
enough.
full
I don't think they
hour. You
got.
could do that in like 20 minutes. But
I don't think they got a big enough taste of it,
yeah,
because you had outside of Hong Kong, you have the one movie that did big numbers across the world, and then it was just like done.
oops. Yeah, no, I agree. Sad.
But
All right.
yeah,
Well, yeah, if you get the chance, go watch it. It's definitely worth an hour and a half of your time while you're safer at home.
yeah, 1 2/3 thumbs up.